Hey there, it's Coach Cole here, and welcome to Monday Mentoring on the Today's Leader podcast, building tomorrow's best leaders today. We're truly advancing the better leaders revolution. Now, we're continuing our conversation today around conversations that count. And today we're going to tackle one of those biggest distractions and impediments that happen in conversations that count. Now, we've already dealt with some big ones, but today we're going to speak around one of those biggest derailers of conversations. I call it the sucker punch, And maybe you've had it happen to you, just maybe. And when you hear the scenario, you might relate to it. So imagine you're preparing for a conversation. It may be about performance. It may be about a performance management issue. You've prepared. You've written down the relevant facts that you know. You've written down the specifics that you're aware of. You've thought about and documented the outcome that you're wanting to get for yourself, the person, and the continuing relationship. You've put down and really noted specific times and dates around some of the things that you've seen. And you're feeling pretty confident, so you start the conversation and suddenly that other person gives you some information that you may not be aware of. Or maybe it could be some information that you're aware of, but often it's a new lot of information. It could be a performance management discussion, as I said, and it could be something like, why haven't you spoken to Bill about this? He does the same thing. It could be something like, but I haven't been trained, right? So they're conversations, they're new bits of information that have come into the conversations. And leaders will often go off on a tangent and start dealing with that information. That's why I call it the sucker punch. You've been sucker punched. Instead of staying true and focused on the outcomes of the conversation that you're wanting to have, you get sucker punched, you get deflected, you get derailed, and suddenly you're talking about something else. We start addressing the sucker punch. And of course, that's like a natural response for a lot of people. We may want to defend something that's been said. But whatever happens, it shifts the conversation, and often we never return to the outcome. But really, the way that I want you to think about a sucker punch is that it's a new sense of shared meaning. You've got some information that you may not have been aware of. And all that is doing is adding to the pool of what you know. But let's be really clear about this. There are going to be some times where you get some new information where you immediately need to stop the conversation and potentially start an investigation. So if the new information is anything like criminal activity, it could be a bullying allegation. It could be a sexual harassment allegation, not necessarily, and I'm not saying it's concerning you as a leader. It could be concerning someone else in their area or division that's accounting for the whatever the performance discussion was going to be. Immediately, you should stop that discussion and arrange for an investigation and further discussion with more professional and qualified people. The last thing you want to be doing is addressing them in a state of emotional angst, potentially, and a state of where you could potentially do a lot more harm than good. So don't make the matter worse by trying to do that yourself. I'm sure that you're good at what you do, but maybe there's going to be some times where you just need to subscribe to a more professional, a more qualified, a more experienced person to handle some of that. But that's rare. And seriously, that is rare. So I don't necessarily want you to worry about it. But if that does happen where the other person has provided this new information that is criminal, bullying, harassment, you know, the sort of stuff, those stuff that usually breaches legislation and usually breaches company culture. But it's rare. Most sucker punches are there designed to deflect the conversation, to get you thinking not necessarily about the person in front of you, but about other people. They're trying to deflect the conversation. The key here is to thank them, acknowledge the information, and especially if it's the first time you've heard, thank them for making you aware of it. But also be really clear, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. Thank you for that, and we will look into that. But we're here to address this. And as I said, our shared outcome is that we want to address these performance issues because we want you to be, we know that you are a good performing team member, and we've got this one issue that we need to deal with. Acknowledge it, but stay focused on whatever the shared outcome is going to be. Hey, I'm Coach Curl. Thanks for tuning in to Monday Mentoring. I will see you all again next week. Bye for now.